athletes and then move to questions for Coach McDermott. Again, please raise your hand, state your name and your affiliation, and we'll get the proceedings coming along right after Coach's statement. Coach?
First of all, I'd like to congratulate Coach Marshall and his team on a great season and a great game. It's just an unbelievable rivalry that we have with Wichita State. And, you know, certainly I don't think there's a lot of love lost between us, but I think there's a lot of respect between us. And I think that's really important. And, you know, we had a chance to really open it up the second half, and they would not allow it to happen. So, you know, I think they're a team that can make a lot of noise here in about a week and a half when the NCAA tournament starts. I know I would not want to draw them in the first round. Also like to thank the Valley staff. You know, this is my 8th tournament, and they just do an unbelievable job. And as coaches, you know, you want to come here and just get your team ready and not have to worry about anything else. And Doug Elgin and Mike and Jack and the entire staff just do an unbelievable job running a first-class tournament where the players are put first. And it's been a pleasure to be part of it this weekend. Couldn't be more proud of my team. We've talked, got this little bracelet on that there's a young man that is a teammate of one of the young guys we signed out of Pierce, South Dakota. Zach Hansen is the recruit's name, but his teammate's name is Conrad Adam. Conrad was diagnosed with cancer last summer, had to have his leg amputated, still fighting the battle, and Conrad and I have kind of become text messaging friends over the course of the last 7 or 8 months. And on this Conrad's Clan bracelet, it says, "No one fights alone." And I've been to Pierce, South Dakota to a high school game and watched how that whole community has rallied around this young man, and have shared the story with my team. And it's really has provided an inspiration for us, because that's really what we're about. You know, at times I think people thought we were a one-man team, and I think that idea has been put to rest today. These guys have fought for each other. During a time in January and February when the chips were down, it would have been easy to cave. It would have been easy to give in to the negativity that floats around on the social media when a team that was nearly a top 10 team all of a sudden isn't functioning at a high level. And it takes a lot of maturity and a lot of character in your locker room to avoid that. And these guys have stuck together. They've stayed the course, which has been our message, and I couldn't be more proud of them. It's been an unbelievable ride this season, and we had a couple goals, and 2 of them we've fulfilled. We've got 1 more to go, and you know, hopefully we can do our job in the NCAA tournament, represent the Valley in a first-class way.
Questions for the student athletes? Hands up. We have one on the right, in the middle, please.
This one's for Doug. I just want to ask, you got off to a slow start in the first half. What changed in the second half?
I mean, I thought I was much more patient the second half. I mean, kind of took some quick shots there in the first half, and got a couple of stupid fouls, and kind of just threw me off my rhythm a little bit. But I tried to regather myself at halftime, and my teammates did a good job of finding me in the right moments, and they kind of just fed off me there, and Jahen's obviously stepped up big there down the stretch.
Up front on the left.
Johans, could you talk about what's going through your mind on that last possession and take us through that drive?
Honestly, I was just thinking, you know, get the ball to Grant and get out of his way. But I looked at him, and they did a good job denying him, and as I looked at the clock, there's about 7 seconds left, so, you know, I just kind of put my head down and hope for the best, and the Lord answered my prayers, and now we're back-to-back champs.
Hands, please. Questions? On the right, in the middle, Brian Burwell.
Doug, can you talk about the defense on that last play?
Yeah, I mean, it was a quick little turnaround there. Jahen scored the bucket, and we had to get back and get a stop. And we knew Armstead was probably going to get that shot. And I had Garden early, and we were switching ball screens with him all game. So I stuck with that, switched onto him, and tried to get a hand in his face without fouling him. And luckily, he missed.
Third row on the middle left.
Yeah, Grant, you hit a couple threes in last year's tournament championship game and did so again today. Is that, would you say, more of a coincidence or just rising to the occasion?
A little both, hopefully. You know, I like this arena. I had that confidence playing well in the championship game last year and was able to knock down a few open ones. But, you know, we had multiple guys that came in kind of in their moment and hit big shots for us when we needed them.
Other questions again, Brian, in the middle on the right.
I don't know if any of you guys saw the Valpo game yesterday because they won it on that last-second shot like that. When that guy, when he puts up that shot, I'd like to hear all your reactions as you're watching that ball go up.
Doug, why don't we start with you and work our way this way?
Yeah, that was a crazy shot. I mean, especially in a conference tournament. So we're all watching that, getting jacked up for today's game, and it came down to kind of a final play in our game too. So, I mean, there's so many close games this year. I mean, it just feels great to get one against a rival today, and we're looking forward to the NCAA tournament.
Gregory?
Well, the last play, I thought Doug, you know, he played real good defense, so I was actually confident that, you know, I was hoping that wasn't going to go in, just the fact that he didn't really go for the fake and then was able to challenge it. I mean, it was really, really tough shot. So, I followed the ball, and either way, we didn't have enough time to either rebound there because, I mean, the shot clock went off. So I was kind of just, I mean, it was a long whatever. I don't think it was even like a second, but I was just kind of froze there. But, I mean, like I said, Doug did a good job. So, I mean, and he came out our way.
Jehens?
I'd agree with Greg there. Doug did a tremendous job keeping a hand on his shooting shoulder and, you know, forcing a tough shot. And honestly, it felt like the ball was in the air for about 13 seconds there. And I'm probably going to get chewed out on film because I didn't box out on the weak side. So I just saw the ball go up and slide, hit the rim, and when it came off, you know, it was kind of pandemonium and everybody rushed the court. So it's an unbelievable feeling.
Ethan?
I was sitting on the bench. I didn't have quite the view that these guys had, but I was thinking one thing, that shot better not go in. And yeah, it was a good feeling. Doug played good D, and when that clock hit zeros, there's.
And Grant?
Yeah, we did our job. Doug switched out on him and did everything he could do, and it goes up in the air, and you hope it doesn't go in. He made some huge shots in the second half, all game really. So, you know, you just hope it goes off, and it did.
Another question on the left.
Danny Spiewak, Slam Magazine. For Ethan, the beginning of the game on both sides was pretty ugly offensively. When you're sitting on the bench, what are you thinking? And then when you get in there, obviously, good things happen for you.
Just start off the game, they were really not letting Doug and Gregory get anything going easy. And if they're going to take away our inside, I was thinking I'm gonna get a chance to go in here and get some shots up and hopefully get some to go in.
One last question to wrap up this session for the student athletes. And second row on the left, please.
I guess to any of the guys who wanted to take this one, Coach brought up the negativity that kind of swirled when you guys were going through some tough times. To be sitting up there as champions, what's that mean to you guys?
Again, Grant, why don't we start on this side and work down that way?
You know, as much as you try to ignore that stuff, that's kind of the world we live in now, and it's pretty impossible when, you know, your team's struggling, you wake up to 100 tweets every day, you know, people talking. But, you know, we did our best to ignore stuff like that, and that's what you have to do. And we've gotten this far by sticking together, believing in each other, and that's what got us through that rut and eventually back up to this podium.
Ethan?
Yeah, building on what Grant said, we had a tough February there, and we had some tough games, and we didn't start pointing fingers at anyone or blaming anyone. We just found a way to fight through it and try to block out what the outside world was saying and just kind of focus on ourselves, and we've had a pretty good march with it.
Jehens?
I think what's most important is that we never lost confidence in ourselves. We know the guys that we have in the locker room, and we know, you know, if you look to your left and to your right, those guys are going to fight for you, and you better be ready to fight for them. So we have an unbelievable group of guys in the locker room, and we all pulled through together at the right time.
Gregory?
I think it just says a lot about how special of a group of guys we have. I think when things aren't going your way, it is easy for, you know, start pointing fingers and quit. And I think, like Coach said, I mean, we never did that. So I think it speaks a lot about who we are as a team, as a family, and I'm just glad we were able to accomplish this and, you know, prove a lot of people wrong, and now hopefully move in and do a lot more good or special things in the tournament.
And finally, Doug.
Yeah, I thought we did a great job of blocking out everyone when times were tough. We're a really close group. I mean, about 8 of us live right across the hall from each other, so we're always around each other, and we're just one big family. And we knew that we could get to a moment like this, and that's what makes it that much more special, because we got a really mature group of guys, and probably some of the best leadership I've ever been around with Grant, Gregory, and the guys standing up here right now. So it's been a great ride, but we're still working for a lot more.
Gentlemen, thank you for your time and attention. You are free to return to your locker room, where they will be available for further media attention. Questions for Coach McDermott? And we'll start on the second row on the left.
What did you see, Mac, in how Wichita kind of tried to make things tougher this time around for Doug?
Well, we ran some plays early, and they jumped it with a guard from a long ways away. So, the reality of it is you try to figure out what their plan is, and then you try to adjust accordingly. And, the way they guarded Doug was the reason Jahans was able to shoot 8 threes and all of them wide open. The way they guarded Doug and Gregory is the reason Ethan gets 9 looks at the 3. So you have to pick your poison with us, and the way Doug played against him last time, I certainly I'd have done the same thing. I'd have made us hit jump shots, and fortunately today we were able to hit enough to win.
Farther back on the left.
Coach, the shooters played great tonight, but could you tell me what Gregory meant to the win today?
Well, as I told the team in the locker room, we've been criticized because of our defense. But anybody that watched the 3 games this weekend saw a pretty doggone good defensive team. Indiana State shoots 26% against us yesterday, and Wichita shoots 34% today. Your defense starts on the top with your point guard, and I thought Austin, even though Armstead got on a great run there, we're trying to make him work. And as much as we have Austin out there, I thought his job he did on Odom yesterday and continued to work on Malcolm today. It starts on the top and it ends on the back with Gregory, and he was such a difference maker. He impacted the game in so many ways because he made multiple plays. He showed on a ball screen, he'd get back, he'd give some help, he'd block out, he'd go get the rebound. I couldn't be more proud of the way that he played. When your seniors are playing, when it's getting down to the end, you want them to play with a sense of urgency. And without question, Gregory was really hooked up and ready to play this weekend.
Again, on the left on the far aisle.
Austin and Grant combined for 14 assists and 2 turnovers. How important, not just today, but really all year, filling in for Antoine Young?
They both have done a great job. And as I told Austin after the game, he's not out here. He probably should be. But I judge a point guard on how their team does. And that's how Austin will be defined at the end of his career, is what were you able to do and where were you able to take your team. And we had 8 turnovers at halftime. And against their full court pressure, we just had 1 turnover the second half. And that, if you want to point to one reason we won the game, we took care of the basketball against a great defensive team. And we found a way, 2 reasons. We found a way to hang in on the backboards, which is very, very hard to do against Wichita State.
Question on the right, second row.
Greg, I asked the players this already. Did you see the Valpo game, and what was going through your head as the kid puts up that last shot?
I saw the highlight of it and saw Coach Drew's reaction, which was classic, by the way. But you practice those situations, and some coaches foul, some don't. I'm one that doesn't necessarily believe in that. You don't have to worry about guarding the basket in a 3-point game. We were switching every screen, and fortunately my son was disciplined enough to stay down on that shot fake and challenge the shot. So we executed it the way it was supposed to be executed, and as a result, they missed a shot, and we did exactly what we were supposed to do in that situation.
Other questions for Coach Marshall? Again, on the left. We'll go up front, then we'll find you in the back.
Mac, nobody's got a crystal ball to know what the future lies for you guys beyond this year. But if this indeed was Creighton's last Valley game, could it have been any better?
Piv, I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm not involved in that decision. So I'm not even very comfortable commenting. I'll just say this. the Missouri Valley Conference has been great to Creighton. It's been great to Greg McDermott. And I'd like to think that Creighton has been great for the Valley, and the teams that I brought here have added something to this league. And if it happens, it'll be very bittersweet for me because I love this league. I love the people that run this league. But I also understand the dynamics of college athletics today. And whether that decision's made or there's an invitation even forthcoming, I don't know. And I haven't spent much time worrying about it because I've been trying to get my team ready to play some important games. But this is a wonderful, wonderful league, and it's the leadership of the league has been outstanding, and you know, we appreciate the fact that we're a member of the Missouri Valley Conference.
Again, in the back on the left.
Coach, with your regular season accomplishments and clinching the postseason tournament title, would you at least like to be considered for a geographically friendly site like Kansas City?
You know, you'd love to, just because of what you saw out there today. You know, our fans are, they're crazy is what they are. They're incredible and incredibly crazy because of their passion that they have for our team. And, you know, the guys have said it many times throughout these last 3 days. It felt like a home game. Our fans were into it. They picked the right times to energize our team. And, you know, their support, the scene at our hotel, our send-off is, if there's another one like it in the country, it can't top it because it is incredible. It gives you goosebumps. The hair stands up in the back of your neck when you come down that escalator with all those people. It's a special, special moment in these guys' basketball career. But the crowd was great. It was huge for us, and, you know, we certainly appreciate that they were here.
On the right.
Craig Phelps, Ram Sports. Coach, next year's decision form aside, what's it like hearing your son get the one more year chance there towards the end of the game?
That's been going on for a couple weeks now, and you know, I agree with Doug. It's somewhat surreal to imagine that that's even something that we'd have to consider. You know, he's just a little snot-nosed kid here a few years ago, it seemed like, and now he's grown up to be a very high-character, mature young man who's spent a great deal of time of honing his craft of the game of basketball. And very proud of what he's accomplished on the floor. You know, much more proud of how he's conducted himself off the floor with the amount of success that he's achieved and how he's continued to handle that in a humble manner. You know, we'll go down that road when it's time, but we've got a little bit of work to do here the next few weeks.
Front row on the left.
Mac, as you said, you played some pretty good defense down here. How encouraging is that as you look ahead 10, 11 days from now?
Well, I think the most important thing, if you come down here and you win shootouts, maybe you question yourself when you get back on the practice floor. And I think what this tells us is we can win games with defense if we have to. We shot 41% today, which isn't great for us, and still found a way to win the game. So, you know, we preach all the time the importance of defense and rebounding, and we put 3 games together on not a lot of gas in our tank. If you look at our minutes compared to the people we're playing, we've got some guys we have a difficult time getting off the floor, and they continue to compete on the defensive end. And I think after a few days off, I think they'll be refreshed, and I think they'll be locked in and ready to practice and understand how important that end of the floor is going to be as we move forward to the NCAA tournament.
Perhaps a last question for Coach Marshall to wrap up this session.
Coach McDermott, those guys in
I'm
Wichita,
so sorry.
They'll strangle you if you call me
I'm
Coach
so sorry
Marshall
for Coach
again.
McDermott. I got this far.
You did a great job.
Coach, thank you so much. Oh, we got
Thank
one
you.
here on the right. One last one. Sure, give it a shot.
Make it a good one.
What's going through your head there early in the second half? Your son picks up his 3rd foul, and he's got to sit for a little bit. Just take us through some thoughts maybe going through your head at the time.
Well, I'm not sure what the score was when Doug came to the bench, but I think we increased our lead with Doug on the bench, and that's happened a couple times during the course of the season. And, you know, Ethan Rogge's going to start for almost every team in our league, and he's mature enough and unselfish enough to understand the role that we need him to play for our team to have the best chance to win. And, I mean, I don't think twice about throwing Ethan in there, and now, at least in the last month, Will Artino's contributions have been huge for us. So, you know, Doug's a tremendous player. You know, he's maybe one of those once-in-a-lifetime players that a coach is going to have the opportunity to coach. But today we proved we're much more than Doug, and we had some guys step up in a huge way, and I couldn't be more proud of them.
Coach, thank you. Congratulations on your championship.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't in the notes.
There you go. Congratulations. Good luck down the road. I appreciate it.